We are delighted to have Financial Planning Matters as our official podcast sponsor. To those that don't know, Financial Planning Matters help individuals secure their financial future. The company is led by a great friend of ours, Niall O'Connor, who is also a UEFA B licensed coach as well, familiar within that football space. Niall has helped me personally secure my financial future by allowing me to get a good understanding of my money management. A couple of small things where he helped me improve were understanding where to put money into specific investments, how to save for my retirement, and as well as that, small little tips and tricks like having an emergency fund and how to budget correctly for those longer term payments. If you want to get in contact with Niall and the team about your financial future, you can reach out to them directly at www.fpms.ie.
Jake, welcome.
Thanks to you.
Didn't even ask if you're ready to go.
I'm ready to
Well, here
rock.
you go. Always ready to rock. Great to have you. We've been seeing you around every so often. It's been good fun.
Yeah.
We had an interesting conversation not so long ago. I thought it'd be an interesting way to start. And you were mentioning it there, where over the last couple of years, injuries and stuff have started to creep in. Obviously, there's nothing worse. It's just the nature of getting a little bit older, getting up there, as they say. And you're looking at the idea of almost like transitioning now, where you still want to play to, obviously, I presume, the highest level you can, but integrate into what we would call everyday life.
Working life,
So how is that mentally preparing for all that?
I've worked on it. So like, originally it was scary. So when I first done the injury, I knew I had like a year to 2 years of trying to figure out, just kind of plan for what's next. But you have an anxiety with it straight away because you don't know what you want to do. So for me, you only had one, what would you call it, passion to be a footballer. So it's like when you leave school, you know, you're asked what you want to do when you grow up, blah, blah. It's just literally the exact same. So didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I've kind of changed that mindset of just try things. So luckily for me, before I started football, I went to college, went to Maynooth, got a degree, a business degree. So I thought I might need that in the future. So the last probably year has been looking at how can I use that. And I never really knew what I wanted to go into, but I've got to that stage where it's just like, just try stuff. And that gives me a bit of peace with it, like throw yourself into something you don't like, you give it a year, you don't like, you try something new. So just looking forward to kind of the next part of.
Because the life of an athlete, I think people forget that it's so short term.
Yeah.
And only very, very few of the cream of the crop get to finish their athletic career and probably be comfortable where they don't have to continue on. That was my career, and then I'm kind of I just live now, whatever that might entail. But for probably 95% of any athlete, whether it's football or other sports, there's like almost like a second period of your life where I've done my athletic bit. I'm still so young. It's like a third of it essentially, and now I've got 2/3 to go.
Yeah.
Where some people can't move on.
Well, that's the thing. You're kind of starting again. Like, so what I said to you, remember we spoke about coaching and stuff like that. Like, I think there's two types of coaches. So there's coaches that love football and have a passion for it, and you can see that like in them. Like, I'm quite good at identifying them kind of coaches. There's loads of boys now that love football and they've gone into coaching because of that. And then there's a breed of coaches that go into it because they don't really know what else to do. So you've been in football your whole life, you don't know anything else. So it's like the easiest probably transition is to go into coaching and stay in that industry. But for me, I know that although I love football and love being in it, I don't have that same passion for coaching, so I'm not going to pursue that. And then it's the fear of, right, well, what do I do? So for me, what gave me comfort was like, just try something new. Like you say, as a Premier League footballer, I think I kind of set for life. But on the outside of that, you're going to have to work kind of more or less straight away. So it was fear, and now it's excitement. Just with working on that mindset and stuff like that. I'm big into mindset, so just shifting your mindset.
Yeah, it is super scary, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Because listen, you go up.
Same when you leave school. Like,
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
you've
go
no
see
idea.
Career guidance counsellors and all this, and they're kind of trying to point you in the right direction, but you're not going to know until you do it.
Yeah. What have you done personally? As in, you're obviously, you're saying there, you're big into developing a good mindset. What have the actual actionable things you have done in order to help you prepare?
A lot of reading. I'm big into like mindset books, The Secret, Law of Attraction, them kind of things. So it's mainly that, and just work on like, see, gratitude is a big thing for me. So especially with injuries and stuff like that, I've always looked at them in a certain light. So it's easy to feel sorry for yourself. So I've had some bad injuries over the last few years, and what helped me was like a quick reminder. I probably was doing gratitude before I realised I was doing it, but it was like, it could always be worse. That was my first thing I'd always happen or say to myself when something happened. So just working on that continuously. So any injury I've had, I'm like, I remind myself of other people that have way bigger issues, and that puts me at like peace to know it's not that bad. I can deal with it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you seen that a lot with. I only listened to that podcast with Phil Jones, and he talked about that
recently.
where he said that about, because obviously the perception of him on social media is whatever. It's naturally, it was negative. But then he was kind of saying about that story where someone had said, "Oh, what was it like?" Something about his career.
You could have had a great career.
Great career, and he was kind of like,
"Yeah, I did.
I played for my boyhood club, won the Premier League, represent like."
It's perception. A lot of football is perception, and a lot of that I could relate to as well. Like I watched that podcast, and you get to a stage as well when you're injured that you're embarrassed a little bit, because it's like you're coming in every day and you're going to the gym, and boys are thinking like, "Fuck me, he's just chilling here." But
it's always that question that it's like, how's whatever his leg today or whatever it is,
what
like,
it is, yeah.
Same as
you
it
get
was
sick, exactly. You get sick, and you don't want to be. I'm a positive person. You don't want to be negative. Like my knee could be killing me.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be saying, "Oh, it's sore today." Like what's that achieving? It's not achieving nothing. So straight away you're like, "Oh yeah, fine. I'll be all right next week." But you kind of want to. He was saying you go into training early before the boys would see him and stuff like that. And I get that, because you just kind of get sick of that question. I know the boys have good intentions of. They want to know how you're getting on and stuff like that, but you're going through your own thing, so it's like you don't want to push negativity onto lads, or they're fit, they're training, and you're happy for them to be training, but you're in your own tunnel vision of like, let me get back fit. But I could relate to a lot of what he said, and it was good as well that he kind of faced that of your man saying like,
yeah, it could be so easy to just kind of go,
agree with him.
Not because that's the issue he was taught me. He wouldn't have confronted that when he was younger, but he said obviously now, because he finished his career and all, he said he was like, I had to
address it.
Yeah.
Because that's a if he doesn't address that and he feels that what he said is incorrect, he's lost like an internal battle there with himself. Let alone what your man says. Your man's opinion is an opinion, and he probably was good faith when he said it.
He's probably saying
he's probably like, you were quality, you could have done so much more. But like, he would have lost that battle internally, and if he let someone not walk over him, because he's not trying to bring him down, but like that internal like messaging has to be so good. Especially if you are transitioning from being an athlete going into the rest of your life. Because I was going to ask you a question on the idea in football, and we hear it a lot about like, you're essentially keeping up appearances the whole time, where you're like that, you're trying to not influence, let's say, 20 other players by saying, Minnie's fucked.
Because then that effect, because everyone's like, oh jeez,
Jacob's struggling, and then it's just a whole thing where you're constantly kind of keeping up appearances. You need to know when you need to probably be, which is tough. You probably have a good idea of it now that you're later into your career. Say for younger players, that keeping up appearances is tough. Like, when do I be fully authentic and speak exactly what I think, and when do I have to kind of, right, I'm in a club here, I need to kind of mind my messaging. How do I go about answering this question, or what's my body language like? Should I appear to this meeting? Should I not? And just small things like that. It's so hard to juggle all, isn't it?
There's a lot of football's acting like really as well, but you kind of have to have, like, body language is a big thing. So I'd say to a young player, like, you see them sometimes make a mistake or whatever it is, even around the place, you come in a little bit late, your shoulders are slouched, all that like little signs mean something. So anytime I was struggling in terms of out of the team or injuries, I'd always be conscious about body language, chest out, get to work, you're in here to graft, be early, all the things you can control, and then the rest looks after itself. But it's like these little things that you probably don't think are important, body language, it's massive. But as well, obviously there's times you put on a brave face or whatever, but I think when you go into training, when you go into football, are there to work. So body language and stuff like that is important. Yeah.
Like that idea of, and I think you're entirely correct in saying a lot of it is like acting. You are keeping up appearances, but if you go in and you're probably not, it's probably not conscious. You going and going, right, I'm going to be like this today. It's just a natural reaction to the environment, whatever. How does that affect you then at home? Because you're not essentially able to do your job. You can't train, you can't play to the level you want, or you're in and out due to injury.
Yeah.
So you're keeping up the appearances. You see everyone else doing what you want to do, and then you go home.
Yeah.
What do you do with your spare time then? How do you deal with the mental side of it? Because that generally is the problem.
Yeah.
Is
that is
I've
the tough
all the spare
part.
time.
Yeah. What helps me, like, my work rate's high, so I like to stay busy. I'm probably too busy. So, like, physio said to me recently, he says, like, sometimes less is more. So, like, with my recovery of the most recent injury, I look at why I had so many setbacks and stuff like that, and I'm thinking maybe I've done too much. But that was giving me confidence in myself to know, right, I might leave training, I've done gym, but I'm going to go gym again in the evening, do another session, trying to get back. But it just keeps my mind at peace. So, like, going out, walk dog for an hour, go gym, just something that's healthy, that's helping me. That's where I would kind of get my comfort from. But everyone's different, do you know what I mean? Like, I know boys will go on PlayStation, keep their mind off things, and I've done that as well. But it's just whatever, you need to try different things to find your peace. But I've been good, luckily, throughout my career with mindset and working on it and stuff like that. I've never had kind of any mental health problems or anything. But it comes from what I put in. So even times when I've been out of a team, I tell young boys this now. So I've had probably 1 year at Motherwell where I had a manager come in, he didn't fancy me, I didn't particularly like him, and I wasn't playing. So at the start you're sulking a little bit, you're like, I should be playing and blah blah blah, and then I shifted it to be like, right, every training session I'm going to be 10 out of 10. So when I got home, I'm comfortable. I know it's not down to my work rate, performance, attitude. It's not that. It's he fancies the other left back over me or the other centre half. So I can be alright with that in my mind, do you know what I mean? Because I know it's not my, how to explain it?
It's not your own doing.
It's not my own doing.
Yeah.
I'm controlling what I can control. So that's my message always to young boys, like, control what you can control. I would never like a manager to come to me and say, you're not fit enough, you come in late, your attitude stinks. Like, they're the ones that I can control, and else sometimes you can't. Do you know what I mean?
It's fair.
That's a good example of, because like that be soaked for that kind of first week or two.
You're
just giving them the ammunition of they already don't fancy you as a player for whatever reason, and he's like, well, now I definitely don't fancy you.
Exactly, and your performance then is affected. So I'm not really one to have arguments or anything like that. I kind of try to lead by example, but I had a go at one of the boys recently at Bowles. So I think we had a game and we were meant to train straight after the game, like the boys didn't play. So that was scrapped. I think we won the game, so it was kind of scrapped, and we were running, which you always do after the game, so box to boxes and all that. And he started complaining, like, just whinging about we should be in training, haven't trained a few days and blah blah blah. And it just triggered me, so I was like, stop crying. I won't say who it was, but I was like, just stop crying, like, you're not achieving nothing. I says, you're only affecting yourself, putting yourself in a bad mood, feeling sorry for yourself. Like, it is what it is. Just do your fitness, get on with it. If you want to have a moan, ring your dad later, moan about it or whatever. But when you're here, just do the work, you'll feel better for it. And then, like, the next day he'd say to me, like, right, thanks for that, like, you are right. And his attitude kind of shifted. Now he spent a few weeks out of the team, so I know he was kind of feeling sorry for himself in terms that he probably didn't deserve to come out of the team. But with doing the run after training and not really getting near it, I knew he was getting in that mindset of, like, this is a load of shite, like, I should be playing. And now he's in the team every week and he's doing well, but I think that kind of shift maybe might have helped him. That's how I like to help. I wouldn't usually do it by having to go with someone. It's usually by leading by example, but there I felt like I needed to intervene because he was pity party, do you know what I mean? Sometimes it can happen, like, being there myself, but you just learn through experience, like, it's not going to do you any good.
When you said you learned that through experience, did that happen to you before, where
of
a
course,
senior pro would have said something similar to you when you were younger?
I think I kind of learned that myself. I don't know how, but I just realised I've done the pity party. So, like, that time at Motherwell, I spent time where the first few months I was like, I should be playing. And I'd knock on the manager's door every Monday and say, what's going on? He'd give me a new excuse every time. And one of them, the one that annoyed me the most was, like he said, the right back ran like 10k a game, and he was like, you ran 9k, so you need to get that up. So that was the fitness thing that like trigger me. So you say like sprint for throw-ins, and when the ball goes out, sprint for throw and get your stats up. And I was thinking, what is this? Like, what are you talking about? What? Do you know what I mean? That's how ridiculous it got, right? So then I ticked.
That's a scandal.
That's how it was. So I ticked that off and I got my stats up. And I still wasn't playing. So I knock on the office. And what is it this week? We lost the game, left back hasn't done well. Say, this week I'm just going to go for blah, 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 because he's a little bit taller than you and we're playing a big team. So we put me on the spot and I didn't really know what to say. So I was like, right. And then you leave the office. You know, when you're leaving the office, you always, the answers come to you. And I'm thinking, he's 6'2", I'm 6'1", I'm a left back. 6'1" as a left back isn't small. Like, I can jump, I can head. So I knew it was just nonsense. But so then I'd gone from feeling sorry for myself to, right, I'm just going to train the best I can. Then when I got home and training, I know that it's not down to performance or stats or whatever it is. He just has a preference towards this guy over me, which is fine. That's how football works sometimes. It's a game of opinions, but I control what I control. And I remember one game later that season, and I hadn't really played much that season, and I come on the worst thing is coming on the centre half when it's 0-0, 10 minutes left of the game, you're under the cosh. It's like, what can you do? Do you know what I mean? You're only going to either solidify your 0-0 or cost a goal. So it's that mentality of, right, just get through it, concentration. So came on, it was away to Aberdeen. We ended up drawing the game 0-0. I think I cleared one off the line. And the keeper at the time, Liam Kelly's top keeper, like, he's just moved to Rangers. And he said something to me after the game. He says, see, the way you train is why you were able to come onto the pitch and perform the way you performed. And that stuck to me, like, so that was like, right, you're doing the right things. And that always like stuck to me from, that was 5-6 years ago. So that's always what I've kept carrying on then, just train the way you play, train with intensity.
Because if you had been like not training properly, obviously, if you come on, cost the goal, then manager has his reason.
Exactly.
So obviously the excuses you're getting given are they're changing week to week.
Yeah.
Did you ever deal with a manager then where you were out with the team and they kind of were more upfront with you, and how did you find that approach, or is that an approach you maybe haven't had from a manager? Is that something you'd respect more? Yeah,
I love that. I've had that before. Like, sometimes you just be straight with you, like, listen, you're not doing nothing wrong, but we're winning games. The lad in your position's doing well, just keep doing what you're doing. That's fine. Like, I love honesty, but it's when you get the lies. You do get lies from certain managers of, he's too tall and blah, blah, blah. But if they're honest with you, there's nothing you can do. Like, football is a game of opinion, so I'd give this message to my brother. He is a young professional making his way in the game, and when he was coming up, it was like, I'm going to be a footballer. So he didn't try in school, he didn't try really at outside school. And I used to say to him, like, it's not just that, it's not just your ability, it's opinion. So one manager might love you, and you see it, like, I've been in clubs where you could be playing every week, a new manager comes in, he wants a different playing style, you could be a striker that you're running behind, and he wants a hold-up man. So straight away you're done. Do you know what I mean? So you can't really just depend on
your ability.
Yeah. It's more than that, you know what I mean? So that's why it always comes back to control what you control. And then if it gets to a stage where a manager comes in, he says, listen, enough for me. That's fine, shake hands, you go to the next club, the next manager likes you, do you know what I mean?
So yeah, solidifying yourself in a team consistently is,
especially when managing
so difficult. It's so difficult. Now that you've seen, one maybe in your position, but also every position, because now you've played at top clubs, you've had a very good career, you've played a lot of games. What is the one thing, or there's one like style of player, or maybe a few attributes that they have that they are always in the team?
It's just being reliable. I think like your solid 7 out of 10s, be reliable to the manager, so the manager needs to trust you. But the best players I've played with, they have this thing, I call it I've named it myself, like they've got short-term memory loss on a pitch. It's unbelievable. Like, see, the higher you go, the better they are at getting over mistakes. So, so I've played with top centre midfielders that might give it away 8 out of 10 times, but no mistake matters to them. Like, it's as if either it hasn't happened or it's someone else's fault. Do you know what I mean? But that's the part that I struggle with the most. Like, if I make a mistake, especially younger in my career, I'm much better at it now, but when I was younger, that play in my mind constantly, and you're thinking, right, don't make a next mistake. Or it's like this perfectionism where you want to be 10 out of 10, you don't want to give the ball away, it's sloppy, it was an easy pass, you gave that away, whereas these boys just can give it away for fun, but you just forget about it, and it's only that one moment, then they might give it away loads of times, and then the next action is they put someone in on goal. Do you know what I mean? And then they can be trusted in a way because they're contributing to the game, and they've forgot about every little mistake they've made, which I think that's the biggest thing. Like, the higher I've gone, the more I notice that boys just mentally they can just get through mistakes.
Some of them players are so funny because they can have a stinker and a goal and assist.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
He's the first
he always comes to mind, like, gives it away constantly, but he's apparently United's best player, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's mad.
Yeah. Like, some people have that just arrogance, don't they?
It's brilliant.
It's someone else's fault. It's so true as well.
Yeah.
Just
passing the blame. That's one thing I really don't like about a lot of footballers.
Yeah.
Especially unwarranted footballers. I find that a lot, that it's always someone else's fault.
But they get far though.
If they're good, yes. If they're good, I have no problem with you. That's generally the issue. Is if someone's got that type of like bollocks and I actually genuinely, I used to hate it when I was younger. The whole idea of the Charlies, that I genuinely could not connect with them when I was playing with them. But then even when I started like just coaching, but now I actually have a love for them where it's like they're arrogant, they do what they do, but if they perform and they back up what they say, I don't give a shit. Do what you do. Exactly. You there's mutual respect then. But people who pass the buck, like, nah, it's not my fault. The gaffer, this is shit, set up shit, facility shit, pitch and bobble. But then they're terrible themselves. Can't stand it.
That's what it is when you're in that environment. Like, you're resentful towards them because you're like, you're just chucking it here. You're passing the buck. But I remember I played with a lad at Motherwell, Declan Gallagher, and brilliant at it. Like, so he's a good player, but like, it was never his fault. But like, he went on to play for Scotland and stuff like that, and I used to call him Deck the Deflector. So he's so good at like deflecting blame onto someone else, do you know what I mean? But he got far with it because he was a good guy as well, so you weren't like that angry with him, but it was just became funny at stages. You were like, you're so good at this, it's actually admirable. Do you know what I mean?
Football can be, it's very like with opinions and stuff, it's a people game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because like, for example, you've just described someone who you probably wouldn't normally like, but you said he's a good guy and he's done well, and you're like, I respect him because he's a good guy and he knows how to work with people.
Like, you're taking a piss. You know what I mean?
It's bad, isn't it?
The team needs the different characters.
100%. 100%.
They'll have it.
Yeah, you can't have a team of Gary Devils. No. It just doesn't work.
A mad team.
Doesn't work.
Inverted Gary Neville left.
Like, but that idea of like the different characters, we were almost saying people like describe themselves in like third person. They're their own aura. And first of all, they're hilarious to be around, so they generally are good for a team. But when they become detrimental, is it difficult to skew like the conversation to like, right, you've got away with it for a bit, but now it's been like 6 months. And you're taking the piss. Like, you're giving out about this, that, and you're giving nothing to us. So that it has to be mutual. You can't just be deflecting and then be shite yourself.
No,
it has to be mutual. So how do you prevent the toxic nature coming in?
It's really down to a manager though, isn't it? Really, like, he needs to kind of recognise that like 1 or 2 negative people can influence the whole change room. So it's down to the manager to kind of identify that. Obviously, in training, you might have a go at someone, and if you get that negative person always complaining, it's right, shut up now. But they might just be always like that. So it's up to the manager kind of to intervene then and step in.
That's fair. That's why managers are top or not. They can deal with the multiple characters.
That's what it is. Different, so many different characters. It's great. That's the great thing about football. You meet so many different people, different cultures, all that, and everyone's different. So everyone kind of needs to be treated different. Sometimes with managers, you get them where they try to treat players all the same. No, not everyone's the same. Like, you might have a flair player. You see like Hazard and stuff like that needed to be treated different. I was seeing something yesterday with Messi. See Boateng speaking about him, saying like before the game he'd be on his phone, he'd be on FaceTime. Manager's doing team talk, he's on FaceTime. But he can do that because he's different. You know what I mean? Like certain players can. You need to know how to treat them. Yeah,
and then because you hear all the time players obviously speak to us, and we've seen some of them where players, I think I mentioned there like a minute ago, where some players act like that, but have no pedigree.
Yeah.
Like, how do you, like, do players go, would you just stop? Like, like players probably nullify that because they're not stupid. Like, they've seen 1,000,001 characters, and there can't be anything more frustrating than that. No, you're someone who thinks they're it, and just have zero pedigree.
It's up to changing room to humble them, do you know what I mean? You need to kind of humble them and say, relax yourself.
Oh, the joys of football, man. The joy. Who would play? Honestly, who would play dealing with all them characters? That's why I could never last. My head would be gone.
Frazzled.
Oh, God. I couldn't do it.
Mentally.
Couldn't do it.
Blocked out mentally. Like. Yeah.
No, I couldn't do it, man. But even the thoughts of it. I used to hate it even when we were younger, and the characters weren't even that big. Like,
I was gonna say, you'd be on the team and there'd be somebody who's quality, just keeps turning up late in your head. It'd be just like,
I'd be fucking head be
not doing his prehab, not doing his this, not doing that.
My head would be gone.
Raps a free kick in the top corner.
But that's the thing. That would have used to bother me, even if they did perform. But now I have some respect.
So then
if they perform.
You could play?
No,
you just saying you could.
No, but I don't want to play first.
Okay,
that's the main reason.
But do you think you could actually handle the dressing room?
No, but being around, no, I'd hate it. I'd hate it. I hate the team environment.
You'd be the type to sit in with the gaffer all day and then just like come in the change and get changed and walk out. One of the lads are all doing TikTok.
Nah, I couldn't do that. But see,
that's him walking in the gaffer room. They're doing the dance again.
Oh no! Honestly, there's some things I've seen in recent times, and I just couldn't be around it. And I sound like I'm a geezer, but I'm not. But I just couldn't handle it. Yeah, well, yeah.
Thank you, old man.
Yeah, well, we're all getting older. We're all getting older. I was going to ask when you first. So your first club when you were breaking into senior football here was Pats, wasn't it? Yeah. Now that you have the wealth of experience that you have, is there anything you would have done differently when you were first breaking in? Now that you've seen younger players break in, what?
But Pats, not particularly Pats. I think more when I moved to Huddersfield. But
okay.
Pats was great because see the underages. I was with Belvo at being Lewis for a year, being where else, Joey's. I went everywhere to kind of play because like that I was good technically, but I was small. So you know, underage football you don't really play because you're too small. So it was only when I went to Pats like 19s I'd shot up. Then I'd hit 6 foot, and I became one of the better players then. So it was like 19s, reserves, then first team. It was a good trajectory into the first team. So always done well like at Pats, and you could see me growth coming on, confidence. I was one of the best players in 20s, best players in reserves, and then it was just natural for me to go into first team. So I think it's the older you get, it's the more you kind of think about other things outside football. So when you're grown up and coming into football, you've no fear. Do you know what I mean? You don't think of, if we lose this game, what's going to happen. And then once you get to a higher level and you let pressure like get to you, that can sometimes affect your performance. So like Pats was brilliant for me. Loved it. Pete Mann brought me in. Made my debut against Rovers, I think it was, in the cup. And then just went on to play loads and loved it. Ian Birmingham, do you remember Ian Birmingham? He came in. Mr. Consistent, like so good. And then it was like, right, I'm not going to play here. But Liam Buckley came in and he could tell that I had ability and he wanted to play me, but Burma was so good. So I ended up playing centre back, centre mid, everywhere, kind of just to play. But loved it, learned different positions. It was kind of a compliment to me. I used to call myself the Black John O'Shea. I just fill so many positions. It's just a different position every week. So boy loved it. So then it was try to get that break, try to get across. And then I remember going on trials a couple of times. I went to Brighton for a week and Bournemouth for a week. And
they would both have been champ at the time, wouldn't they?
yeah. And Brighton, like, remember staying in digs. So it was the first time ever in digs, and I absolutely hated it. Like, I'm just staying with a random family. You're sitting in your room, like, hiding away from everything. You're eating their food that you don't particularly like, all that. And I trained for a week, and I done well, but I felt like no one was watching me. So I came back, and my agent said, how'd it go? And I said, I done well, but like, no one kind of didn't play a game around, and I was with the 21s. No one kind of watched me. He says, well, you must have done well because they want you to go back. I said, I don't want to go back. Like, I didn't enjoy it. So that was that. Just put that to the side. Bournemouth was a different case where I'd gone, played a game. We played against Reading in a game, friendly game, and we lost 6-1. So I knew that was a non-runner. So, so again, back. And then I was just like, I'm not really arsed. Like, I thought I wanted to go England, but after them 2 experiences, I'm not too sure. So just start playing my Pats, and loved that I was coming up with Chris Forrest. We were same age, and we were kind of breaking into an experienced first team then. So we were side by side the whole time. And then another opportunity came to go to Huddersfield. So like that, it was a trial to start with. So I went out for a week. And I was training with the first team, so I didn't know what to expect, so I was training with the first team, and again, done well. But this time I was ready. I was 21 now, so I was like, although I'd said no to them 2 previous ones, or one of them said no to me, I was like at the age where I want to go to England. And the first trial, so I'd done well all week, and then I got back to the hotel, and Sky Sports News come up, and it says the manager had been sacked at Huddersfield.
Jesus.
So I was like, right, well, that's it then, innit? Just better fly home. So that was it. Move was dead. And then about 6 months later, then my agent got on to me, says, you done well last time, so the coaches that were still there in the background, they want to see you back over. And there was a new manager in place, so went over and trained for a week, St George's Park, the England training camp. Yeah, it was quality, like. And you know, when you think you made it, so I remember like sitting in the back of first team boys' cars, and it was big Range Rover TVs in the back and all that, and I'm thinking, right, this is what's to come. And trained, done well, and that was the deal then. It was like, right, we want to sign you. My agent rang me, says they want to sign you, but I wasn't excited. Like, you could tell I wasn't excited over the phone, just because of previous kind of, not rejections, but disappointments of the manager getting sacked and all that. It was like, just wait until it's done. So obviously it got done, then the excitement was there, and buzzing to get over then.
And then when you had signed, because it's a major difference, because you went over at 21, the older generation of players generally went over
16,
much younger,
Much younger.
Substantially younger.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you kind of went a more traditional route now.
Yeah.
Maybe even later than
Yeah.
the players will still go away now, because now they'll obviously have to play Ireland. 18, 19, they'll probably get away and get a good move. But like 21 is not late, but it's not early to go over.
Yeah.
So you obviously had built up a lot of games, experience, had trialed a few places, so you kind of have that England experience. What changed when you went to Huddersfield? Obviously, you're moving country. It's a whole different like style or whatever.
Yeah.
It's obviously full-time, proper professional football. You were saying the idea of like dealing with obviously more pressure. It becomes your absolute everyday, your livelihood.
Yeah.
You're not seeing your family every day. This is it's the be all and end all. So what was the major shift there? And again, would there be anything that you would have changed now in hindsight?
In terms of mindset, when I went to Huddersfield, it would be training my mind more. So originally when I went to Huddersfield, I had still again the same no fear from Pat. So the thing for me was always like off season, I'd work like a lunatic, because I was like, it was a fear of being last in the run. See, like them yo-yo tests and all that, I used to get so much anxiety about it. But it was like the standard thing where it was like, I want to be top 5. So if I can do that, then straight away I've got a bit of a head start. So I went over super fit. And like that just impressed in pre-season. So I didn't really know what I was going into, whether I was going into 21s, first team or whatever. So because I went super fit and we went away to Marbella for a pre-season tour and I done well. I remember James Vaughan, he would have played Premier League and all that, striker. He pulled me to the side like halfway through the trip and he says like, the manager really likes you, like keep doing what you're doing. So the first game of the season came and I was on the bench and it was Forest away. So I remember sitting there, it was just incredible, like stadium was packed. But still it was confidence, like it was like, I'm ready to play in this. So I think we lost that game, so the next game was Bradford in the Cup and ended up starting that game. Just out of nowhere, like kind of wasn't expecting it, but again, still confident, played well. Next game after that, QPR at home, who had just come down from the Premiership, played that, confident. And then it was just a run of games, like, so I was loving it. And then this was kind of when I shifted, so about 6-7 games into the season, we played Barnsley away. And we lost the game. It was a local derby for Huddersfield, so lost the game, but it was the first time like this nervousness that came over me. So just ball come to me, I didn't really want this, so I was stitching people up left, right and centre. I remember like the centre half tearing into me because I'd given him a ball when he was under pressure but I didn't even bite back, which I look back and I think if that was now I'd bite back, but at the time it was like, right, he's shouting at me. So didn't play well, come out of the team. So I remember the manager, it was funny, the manager said to me a couple of days after, he says, I'm going to rest you for the next game. So I'm thinking, that's fair enough, look, I've played 7 or 8 games now, probably due a rest, like. So he rested me for about 18 months, I think it was.
I was going to say.
Oh, he was just so rested, like. Yeah, just couldn't get back in the team then, that was me, like. And then when I come out of the team, I had an ankle injury, rolled my ankle, so that was a couple of months. And then when I come back from that, it was a slow regression. So I was then back training with 21s out of nowhere, and then I was playing 21s games, and it was just slowly going backwards. And then had a couple of loans, went to Bury for a month, which made you grateful for being at Huddersfield because it was dog and duck compared to what you're used to. So I had that for a month and then went up to Scotland, the Partick Thistle for 3 or 4 months. Loved that. But again, just kind of running down my contract at Huddersfield. And then it was weird how it happened. So like I went back to Huddersfield after Scotland. I ended it with injuries. So I went back to Huddersfield and I was nowhere near it. Like it was a new manager had come in, Chris Powell had come in, and I'd only had about 2-3 months left in my contract. So surprisingly to me, I was kind of looking forward to getting released. I wanted to be released because I was like, this is no good for me. I'm just rotting here. I need to play games. So we just had a bit of an injury crisis. So I was on the bench for the last couple of games. We played Brentford away, and the left back at the time was Jack Robinson, who's at Forest, I think now. So he came off injured at half time. So all of a sudden, I'm the only left back there. So I came on and done well, played well. And the following week was Norwich, then at home, I think it was. And Norwich were like tops. So they had Nathan Redmond was the right winger. And this little fella, he's ruined me a couple of times. So this is my last game in the championship. And he was just so sharp, like he was so quick. You get tight to him, he put through your legs, you give him space, he'd run at you. So I just couldn't stop him. So I remember like coming off that pitch thinking like, just get me out of here. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's real me. Confidence is on the ground. Like, just.
Because he obviously didn't say it until after the game.
No. Head was in my hands. No. Yeah, it was just relief at the end. Like, it was strange because I'm at a good level and I've played a few games. But it was just like, I need to play consistently because I was just, apart from the start and the end, it was just rotten in the middle. So, yeah, release from there, and then you think your phone's going to be popping off. So I remember I went away with the Huddersfield boys at the end of the season, so we went to Magaluf 2 weeks, mad one with the lads, and my agent rang me like early on that holiday. He says, Hartlepool want to sign you. And I didn't know who Hartlepool were, so I'm like, well, what team is it? He says they're League Two. They just survived the end of last season. But I've played like 10 championship games or whatever now, so I'm thinking I can do better than that. Like, so I had this ego where it was like, no, I can do better. So I remember saying to him, no, like, just wait and see what else comes in. So about a week into the holiday, then he's ringing me constantly, but I'm out with the lads all day, all night, so I'm not interested. So just ignoring his calls, and then towards the end of the holiday, he's texted me like a vicious text. And then I've rang him, and he's just tore into me. Like, he's like, I don't know who you think you are, don't know what you're expecting, but nobody else is coming in for you apart from Hartlepool. So you can go there, or you can go back to Ireland. It's up to you. And I was desperate to like make a career in England, so I was like, right, well, Hartlepool it is. Do you know what I mean? But I just needed to play, so went to Hartlepool, and I loved it. To be fair, my experience in League Two was Bury for a month, so it was a bad experience. So I kind of had that in my head. But Hartlepool was professional setup. They were in Northern League, not Northern League, but they were in the north of England, so like Newcastle way. And what I found playing in the UK, the further north you go, the nicer the people are. So like the more like Irish people they are. So straight away it was just welcoming, playing straight away, playing week in, week out. So that was the main thing for me. So the first season I might have played nearly every game, 45 games or something in them seasons. So loved it. And then second season again played well, and ended up getting interest from Cambridge, who were in the same league, but they were kind of going for playoffs. So had the opportunity to go there. So ended up signing there for 2.5 years. And like that, even when I went to Cambridge, I was saying to them, like, my ambition is to go higher. So they knew I was ambitious, but everything here was like a stepping stone to try to get back towards championship or however high I could get. And then Cambridge was the same, just played a lot. And it kind of seemed to jump ship at different stages. So like Hartlepool was 2 years, but a year and a half I'd gone to Cambridge, and they ended up getting relegated that year. So Cambridge was the same. The second season we weren't doing too well, and Motherwell came in and ended up signing a pre-contract with them and going. So I was kind of gradually making my way back up to where I wanted to play, you know.
Mm-hmm. The text you got off your agent is interesting, because if I were him, I think I would have said the exact same thing.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Like, at the time, you're probably like, stop hounding me on my holidays. But he or she, whoever it is, gave you a text you probably needed at that stage.
Oh, definitely.
You're after playing like your first year or two, whatever, in Huddersfield. You're about to get released. And although 10 championship games is excellent, it's 10 championship games. It's only 10 games.
Yeah.
If I was who the fuck would want to sign you? In theory,
in my head at that time, I'm thinking, surely top of League One,
yeah,
like,
100%.
Yeah.
So then that's where the ego comes in, isn't it?
You just
and
get
you were
humbled
young, and you're like,
straight
I'm the man. I can get in anywhere. We've had very similar conversations with players we've had recently, where they're young and like, a couple of international appearances underage. Kind of came off the bench a couple of times. Surely I can get higher.
Yeah.
There's better players who played hundreds more games than you.
Yeah.
That maybe at a slightly lower level. They're going to overtake
ask a
you.
League One manager if he gives a shit about your
No one gives a shit.
Yeah.
And like at that time, like 2-week holiday is a long time. Bagley was a very long time.
It is. It was just a relief. Like, it was a matter.
And again, you're allowed to obviously go off and whatever, but your agent is correct for pulling you, going, get your shit together.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, like,
that was the first kind of ego check.
Yeah.
You get them throughout your career, but that was the first one where I was like, looking back, you were dead right. Do you know what I mean? But as a young boy, confidence is high, I think, and I've played at a certain level. Yeah. I see it now, like, there was a lad that come in at Motherwell and he'd played Liverpool underage, Arsenal underage, Chelsea underage, and then he come into us and he had that ego, and the manager wouldn't play him because he'd had no first team games. It's like, it's the same kind of thing. It's like, you've been at all these clubs and you've got a great pedigree, but at the same time you can't trust you because you've had no first team games. So straight away he's been humbled. Do you know what I mean? So you
100%.
see it throughout your career.
100%. People don't drop the ego.
Yeah.
And some people live with that ego, again, unwarranted for their whole lives. Not even just in their athletic career, but it goes all the way throughout the career. Oh yeah, I played at Liverpool underage. So have thousands of people.
Yeah.
And if you've never touched a first team football, you're not a footballer.
Exactly, yeah.
Unfortunately, that's the harsh nature of it. But some people won't drop the ego. Some will not go down the levels and play.
Yeah, you learn the hard way.
100%.
You know I mean?
It's either if you want a career in football, like the probability of you being a Trent and going all the way through and playing for the first team in the Premier League, it's so goddamn slim. Yeah. And Trent's one of the best players currently in the world in his position. So, like, you've got to be that level to get through.
Yeah.
But like, as a footballer, I can see why players, they don't see it. They're in the footballing environment. They're blinkered. They only see that. They see the text they're getting. They see the women on socials. They see the lifestyle. Like you said, you get into the back of the car, TV in the back. This is my lifestyle now. It's like when you get in, it's like, this is me.
Yeah.
This is my lifestyle. I won't listen to anything else. I won't hear anything else. And then when it comes to the harsh reality of, well, you're not playing in your current club. You've got 6 months to go. And in 6 months, if you don't land yourself a club that you can almost guarantee has to be a lower level to drop the ego, you're done.
Yeah. You got to take one step forward, take 2 steps back. That's what it is. Like, especially that lad that I mentioned, I'd say to him, like, go conference, like, just play. And then you have them first team games. You can't use that excuse again. But because he's been at Liverpool and all this, it's like, I'm too good for that. Do you know what I mean? But then he falls out of the game.
Yeah.
So that's just one example.
It's bad because, like, you're nothing until you play senior football. Like, you're just a load of
just
potential.
A name.
Like, it's mental. Like,
yeah.
It's crazy. How did you find then? So you went to Motherwell.
Yeah.
How did you find the level in Scotland compared to England? Where does it kind of sit?
It's weird because, like, in Scotland they've got no respect for, like, League 1, League 2 England.
Really?
And
Okay.
it's the same in England. If you're in League 2, they look at the SPL and think it's terrible. So there's just no respect between the two. But it's hard to put your finger on it. Like, SPL, I always said it's like 2 different leagues. So you have your Celtic, Rangers, Hearts, Hibs, big massive clubs, and then you have smaller clubs like Livingston, Hamilton, who were in it previously and stuff like that, which it's kind of a league split into 2. So one week you come up against Celtic away, and next week you're Livingston at home. You're playing 2 different levels. You know what I mean? So I think it's kind of a mix between maybe lower end Championship and then League 1 maybe.
It's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, because you do have that divide, like Celtic, Rangers, Hearts.
Yeah.
They are massive clubs, like massive clubs across Europe, but obviously in Scotland as well. Because people always have the debate, like, if Celtic were to play, they could play in the Premier League and stuff. And it's like, it's hard to reference that because then they're playing teams that are like League 1 then in the same league.
Yeah.
Well,
like, it's a massive jump.
You seen it last week? Like, they played Ross County, I think it was. They won 6-0. And some of their goals were ridiculous. And then they go get beat 7-1 at Dortmund. Yeah. And it's like, there's just so many different levels in football. Like, it's scary.
The
is.
levels within one league is interesting.
Because within League 1 or League 2, within your experience, is there there's obviously going to be 1 or 2 outliers that go up and 1 or 2 outliers that go down, but everyone else
is similar.
It's similar.
Yeah.
Like,
but you have the same yo-yo kind of clubs. See, like your Rotherhams, Portsmouth, stuff like that. Like, they always seem to get promoted and then they're struggling and they come back down constantly. You get that, like, all through England.
So like the 24 clubs in the Champ, 24 clubs in the League 1, League 2, they're all within the same basket. We'll say there's obviously going to be outliers, whatever, but the majority is the same. But then the SPL is like top, and then rock bottom.
But such a small league.
Yeah,
as well,
exactly. How many teams is it? 12?
10 or 12.
10, 12?
Because they split it now, don't they?
Yeah, they have the
It'd be 12 top 6 bumps.
That's it. Yeah, and then they split it up. Yeah, Jesus. Like, the jump is substantial.
Oh, it's massive.
It's crazy.
It is, but it's enjoyable.
How do you find life up there then?
I loved it.
More north. I've been to Scotland a few times, and they're good people. They're
good people, like funny people. Like Glasgow's the same. They have that same sense of humour as Dublin. So it was home away from home. Do you know what I mean? That's the happiest I've been in the UK. Was in Glasgow. And it's the longest period of being. I spent 2 years. So that was 4 years I spent there. But good group of lads. And just people genuinely around the place. It was like, I enjoyed it.
You scored some nice goals as well.
Yeah.
Free kicks.
Yeah, a couple of free kicks. Peg, left peg. I'd always say I'd get maybe guarantee you 1 goal a season and a couple of red cards a season. Always guaranteed that.
Do you have a hot head when you play? Or you just rash?
A bit of both. Like, I remember the season where probably my most difficult season under Graham Alexander. Like I mentioned before, I had a good start to the season, so I played 5 or 6 games, and then there was assist like nearly every game, and then all of a sudden I just out of nowhere just empty someone and got a red card, and I had a 3-game suspension I think from that, and didn't really play for the rest of the season. But it was like little things like that would just kind of set me back, a red card or something stupid that I do.
3 games is harsh for a red card.
Well, violent conduct or whatever it was put down.
Did you bury him?
Wow.
It was bad tactic. It wasn't great.
That's great.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, so probably warranted.
But that's fair enough. And now, coming to a close, how have you found being back in Ireland?
Yeah, I've loved it. It hasn't gone to plan in terms of the football. I think my plan was to come back and play nearly every week this season, and then have a good few years to the end of my career in the league and with Bows. But just body kind of hasn't gone with my mindset and work rate and stuff like that. It's kind of, I'm not too mad about it because I've had a okay career. People always say to me, you've had a good career, but I know I could have done a lot better as well. I'm kind of hard on myself like that. But it's just like, listen to your body. Like, I've played football since 5 years old. Wear and tear over the years. I kind of wanted to stop at 35, 36, but just the way it's gone, it's kind of like my body's telling me, right, you haven't got long left, you know what I mean? So it's been frustrating in terms of I wanted to come back and play a lot. And I've had quite a few setbacks, but it is what it is. I've enjoyed it so far. So, do
you find you've taken then a different role as a leader in the team with someone with experience? Because obviously the Irish League now has a lot of younger players, like the Bow squad would naturally. Do you find you're a bit more of the experienced pro, giving advice to young players and all that kind of stuff? Yeah,
I think the way I lead is kind of lead by example. I'm not mad on big speeches and stuff like that, but I'll always be in early, I'll stay late, I'll do gym, I'll lead by example around the place, and then kind of I like to see young defenders and stuff like that, like give them advice along the way. So
would you do that? Would you be constant in training? Would you pull someone
out? All the time. See, especially young centre halves, like we got 3 very good young centre halves at the moment at Bows that are doing well, but anytime I feel like they might need a little bit of encouragement, even something simple, like one of them now, I can see if he wins a header and I tell him, look, I'm vocal on the pitch, not really off it, but on the pitch, so he wins a header, first thing I'm doing is well done, and you can see his chest going out and he grows in confidence throughout the game. So I notice all these little things, so it's kind of just trying to influence them in a positive way, because there's some good players at Bows, so I'm just trying to influence them, and hopefully there's still a bit to play for. I'm in a good place now, I'm training every day and feel physically alright, so we have obviously a cup semi-final and a few league games, so I'm hoping to play a bit between now and the end of the season, but really I'm looking as well to help the boys out there.
And enjoy it.
Enjoy
the game.
100%,
my God.
It's interesting you said about your career. Obviously, I know we've talked about gratitude and things like that, because I work with young players in a team and all, and if you were to say to one of them you'd play, what, I think how many games have you played? It's 240, 250, I think, to be.
Yeah, I think Wikipedia's lied on a few. I think I've played more.
A bit more?
Yeah. Do you know what it is? It's because Pats, I know I hit a mark where I played 50 games and I played more after that. I think I'm down on Wikipedia to play 30 games for Pats. Yeah. So little things like that, but I think it's maybe over 300.
Yeah, so I was just thinking there, if I was to say to a young player, you could have a career of 300 games, they should snap your hand off for it. It's a thing, you know.
But that's the thing, it's between my mindset of terms of that short-term memory loss I talked about before. If I had that, I know I would have probably played more in terms of the times when I lacked confidence, and then obviously injuries. The last 4 years at Motherwell, 2 of them I'd spent out with injury, so little things like that. I know I could have played more games, but at the same time I've got to be happy with what I have played. You know?
100%.
You should, yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And now that you're a little bit older, hopefully you seem to be quite aware of it, that it's not going to last forever.
Yeah.
So that just whenever you get to get out now and play if it's 5 minutes, 20 minutes. Some players I hate that when they're younger and they get on for 10 minutes. Like, what am I supposed to do with 10 minutes? It's like you're playing a professional game for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, what a blessing.
It is a blessing.
To play in front of
100%.
Might never
people,
get one again.
your family. It could be the last one.
That's
exactly.
That's
it could
what
be the
I
last
was
one.
about the gratitude. Exactly.
Yeah, just enjoy the thing and shut up annoying me. Like,
Morgan's fuming. I've ruined his day.
you ruined my day.
Ruined his day.
Lock myself in a dark room.
Ew, man.
Think about Charlie's all day. Sake. Jacob, that was great.
No,
Huge thank you. Appreciate your time. We said it to you ages ago that we should get something like this going because your career's been very interesting. Probably won't be the first. We'll probably do a rerun